Next, we have a public hearing on the historic landmark designation of the Buer homestead located at 609 J. Cox Road, and I'm going to turn this over to you, Mrs. Fenderbosch.
Oh, thank you very much. This is a very exciting one before us. Again, we have a historic landmark designation. And December 6th, the Planning Commission met, and they recommended to City Council that we go forward with this recommendation for historic landmark designation. Prior to that, the Avon Lake Historical Preservation Commission met, and they too were in support of this process. This is a very charming farmhouse that's in Ward 2. It dates back to the last quarter of the 19th century and remains very close to the original structure with very few exterior changes. If you drive by, you'll see that the foundation of the house is field stone. If you have the opportunity to see the interior, the cellar door is original and the beams are hand-hewn. The supporting pillars in the basement, the main supporting pillar in the basement is a sturdy tree. How many of you have a sturdy tree to support your house, right? Historic preservation gives residents of our community a deeper sense of understanding and appreciation of our heritage. And this is the second reading for it that's going to be coming up tonight, and it will be going 3 readings.
Thank you. With that, we'll go to reports. Mayor Zilka.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Chief Streeter and Detective Rakowski and I will be attending the Ideas in Motion Fighting the Drug Epidemic in Ohio forum put on by the Attorney General DeWine in Columbus tomorrow morning. The brochure that was sent, Ohio is experiencing the worst drug epidemic in my life. That's the Attorney General speaking. In 2015, we lost 8 Ohioans a day to accidental overdoses from heroin, fentanyl, prescription pills, and other illicit and pharmaceutical drugs. This is a 20.5% increase from 2014. Without your hard work and efforts to address this crisis, we would be experiencing an even greater loss. As I stated at the first ward meeting, information from the Columbus Dispatch, California has more than 3 times the population than our state of Ohio, but Ohio has more opiate deaths in 2016 than California. We often think of California as a place where stuff like that happens when we are just well beyond any evidence of what's going on in California. 1 in 9 opiate deaths in the nation occurred in Ohio, 1 out of 9. We lead the nation in opiate deaths. In Lorain County, deaths by year in 2007, in the county 16, 09, 26, 2011, 11, 2013, 67, 2015, 63, and in 2016, 153 opiate-related deaths in Lorain County. In Mr. DeWine's flyer here, an overview of the Ohio Joint Study Committee on Drug Use Prevention Education report will be discussed, and recommendations about incorporating drug education in all grade levels will be a topic. Also, how anti-drug coalitions are finding new and effective ways to collaborate with law enforcement, mental health providers, and hospitals to save lives. How the state is working to establish a continuum of care that will assist individuals struggling with addiction from detox to recovery. And finally, how the criminal justice system is responding through law enforcement task forces, drug courts, and prosecution of drug dealers. So we will have an all-day session tomorrow with the Attorney General and various speakers. A new summer event's coming up. The Classic Car Show will be held on June 10th. It will also include a double concert at Weiss Park. It will go from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. The car show will be the first half of the day, and we will have Geese Cats playing from 10 to 12. They performed at Miller Road Park last year to high acclaim. In the middle of the day from 2 to 6, we'll have a disc jockey. And lastly, Revolution Pie, which was the most popular group, will perform from 6 to 9 in the evening. And this is sponsored by DEI, which is Design Engineering Incorporated on Moore Road. They deal with thermal tuning products and other auto products, and they hosted their own event on their own property last year and got very excited when Mr. Pinchak approached them about making this as a city wide event. So we think we have the potential here of having a third event in the summer that is of just high quality with very large turnout. So that, we're really looking forward to that on June 10th. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
The Avon Lake Community Council is having their annual Project of the Year nomination and for Citizen and also Project of the Year. And these nominating forms are available at the website, and they're also available in City Hall downstairs in the Recreation Department. And certainly if you know someone who's a volunteer and who's done a lot of work in Avon Lake, please have these filled out. You have till March 14th, and at that point in time, the Community Council make a decision. And we do have we're still going to have the dinner at the Kiwanis in May. I think it's going to be May 18th to honor these people and these organizations, whoever does win these. So by all means, if you know somebody, please get those in. Mailing address, you can send them to myself, Marty O'Donnell, City of Avon Lake, 150 Avon Belden, or you can email them to me at modonnell@avonlake.org. That's modonnell@avonlake.org. And again, the city's address is 150 Avon Belden Road, and send them to myself. So hope you get those in.
I move to authorize a contract with the Hall Public Safety Outfitters to outfit 3 police cruisers in an amount not to exceed $24,453.46.
Discussion?
Yes, this is an item that again came out of the last safety committee meeting with a 3-0 vote. When we purchased new police vehicles, which we did late last year, these vehicles have to be outfitted, and this was a budgeted item. I think we had $30,000 budgeted, so this came in well underneath the budgeted amount. And the police department is very happy with the work that Hall Public Safety has done in the past, and look forward to having this passed tonight.
Thank you, sir. Further discussion? Mayor?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the committee taking the advice of Chief Streeter and recommending Hall Public Safety Outfitters. They are not the least expensive, but they are really the best. They actually come to the police department and do all the retrofitting and outfitting within the bay of the police department. They do it much more quickly rather than having to drive a distance away and having to go pick up the vehicle. And in our past experiences, that they haven't had no problems with the end result. Whereas a vendor before this, there were some problems, and again, the vehicles were out of service for a period of time. So looking at it from a broad perspective, even though this wasn't the cheapest, it certainly was the best.
Thank you, sir. Further discussion? Just adopt the roll, please.
Mrs. Fenderbosh? Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Miners?
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Busey?
Yes.
This is the long-awaited Krebs Road, Lear Road intersection project with the railroad. And through bids, it was determined that the bid submitted by Mr. Excavator of Kirtland, Ohio, is the lowest and best responsive bid and is acceptable. The amount will be $1,024,777.16. Now, the reason for the emergency is, and everybody that lives in that area will know this, the reason for the emergency is the necessity of implementing the Lear Road, Krebs Road intersection project during the summer construction season to provide safe conditions for motorists at this busy intersection and railroad crossing. Thus, it is for the public health, safety, and welfare. And I want to thank Mr. Wrights for having tenacity and staying on this through all of the delays that were brought to him from the railroad. I'm just so happy that this is coming together. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you also, Mr. Wright. Do you have anything to add?
Yes.
Go ahead.
In future, we're having the pre-construction meeting for this project on Wednesday, and I will plan to make this a regular agenda update item at council meetings from here on out until it's done.
I'm most appreciative. Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Thank you. This is the long-awaited Weber Road intersection light.
Mr. Koss?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Council President. I'm share Mrs. Fenderbosh's excitement with this. And so do the residents of Hampshire Highlands, Piccolo Place, Titus Hill, the Colonies, and Hyannis, not to mention the subdivisions and developments that are going in on the east side of Route 83 in that area. Legacy. This has been a very long process, and all of us can recall of the past number of ward meetings that we've gone to where this has continuously been brought up. And some of us feel like a broken record telling them that there's a process to doing this and trying to make them understand that we haven't forgotten about them, that this is going to happen. We had to work through it with the system. So I am very excited that this first legislative step has been taken, and I look forward to finally going to a ward meeting and saying, yes, we are moving forward with this, and we passed this legislation to do the study, and then the next steps will follow shortly after that. So this is a long process. I'm glad that it worked out, and I'm excited to see that so many residents are going to be very relieved when they hear this and see this come into fruition. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. Mr. Rice, would you be able to give the public a timeline of when this will begin and when you think it's going to be ending?
Mr. Wrights?
My anticipation is to get the design done by probably late spring, early summer, with the hopes that we get this project out for bids so that we can, get the equipment ordered to have those traffic lights installed in the fall of this year.
Excellent.
An emergency.
Mr. Koss.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Council President. This is the first reading of this item. Ordinance 666.98 prohibits certain persons who have been convicted or have pled guilty to a sexually oriented offense from residing within 1,000 feet of any school premises or public park. And this ordinance originally had all of the public parks in the city identified by name. However, upon review of this ordinance, names of parks have changed, new parks have been added, and this will probably continue in the future as the city continues to grow and diversify. So it would be necessary to go back in and to revise this on a routine basis. The police chief recommended to the safety committee that instead of identifying the parks by name, that a definition be created that was all-encompassing and actually makes this a stronger piece of legislation. So I contacted the law director, who came up with the definition of what a public park in the city will be identified on for the purpose of this of this legislation. And I will read this as I did last week. Once this is passed, public parks means those areas of the city owned or managed by the city or the Lorain County Metropolitan Park District in whole or in part, and that are designated for park and or recreational purposes, including city parks, beaches, aquatic centers, sports facilities, and fields. And again, this item came out of Safety Committee with a 3-0 vote.